Yo guys, what is up? Alicio here with some gameplay, finally. Well, not finally, I uploaded some gameplay to my stream channel that I had for stream. So if you missed that, link be in the description below, but we are playing some Rush on Manifest today. I'll be using the AK-24 with standard issue extended mags, red dot sights, Cobra light grip, I think that's the one with static accuracy improvement, and Warhawk compensator, I believe. Whichever one improves vertical recoil. But before I get into anything, I want to go ahead and issue my condolences out to the people that were affected by last night's storms. Everyone from the Missouri area, Arkansas, even down to Texas, the Ohio Valley in general. We were all affected by really bad storms last night. I've only had 3 hours of sleep, but I'd like to really send my thoughts out to those people in Monette, Arkansas, Mayfield, Brenton, and Dawson Creek, Kentucky, because they got absolutely, like, there's nothing left of those cities. So if you know anyone from those towns, you know, send out a text, see how they're doing, make sure they're fine. And if you're able to help, you know, lend them some help, because they absolutely deserve it for what they went through last night. Absolutely insane, once in a lifetime event, and I think it's something that we will study for a long time. But anyway, this video I want to go over patch 3.1, which is the last patch for 2042 this year, because DICE is going on holidays, and if I have time, I will talk about possible more gameplay commentaries in the future. So what I'm going to do is, for patch notes, I'm just going to read over. If there's anything that stands out, I'll talk about it, give my thoughts, all that stuff. So for 3.1, the general fixes or improvements and changes is now that players that are not the party leader can now cancel while waiting in the queue. Xbox crossplay cannot be enabled. Disabled in the options menu on Xbox. Your sort settings will now be correctly remembered when refreshing the Battlefield Portal server browser, which is nice because I went to go find a server I played on like the first day I played the game, and it was gone, and it pissed me off, and I was never able to find that server again. And honestly, the person who had that server probably shut it down, because like every server in fucking Portal right now is just hardcore or XP bots or stupid infected zombie bullshit. They fixed an issue where loadouts would sometimes be empty on the spawn screen after joining the server, preventing weapon selection. This is still an issue from what I've seen on Reddit and Twitter. So they may have fixed it maybe in Portal, they may have not fixed it in Portal, they maybe fixed it in All Out Warfare, they may not fix it All Out Warfare. It doesn't specify where they fixed it. So, I mean, it's still there. They made improvements to ensure aim assist is more consistent during console gameplay. I mean, that's good for you guys with the sticks, but I obviously don't give a shit about that. I already feel like controllers, like Ender's proved, that controller has less recoil than mouse and keyboard. And honestly, I don't really think this game needs a ton of aim assist anyway, because if it has a shit ton of aim assist, then we're going to go into the Call of Duty field of bullshit, pretty much aimbot on controller against mouse and keyboard, if you think about it. So I'd like to see aim assist kind of be like how it's always been on Battlefield. There's not a lot, but it's enough there to help out controller players, especially against mouse and keyboard. Ranger's effective combat range and overall health has been decreased. That's actually true. I know some people were bitching about it yesterday when I was playing, but I think on the first day I fired one rocket at a Ranger and killed it in one shot, whereas before it was taking multiple, like 4 or 5 rockets to kill one, so that's actually nice. And it's probably no longer going to aimbot me as much as it did before, which is also nice. Now if they'll just fucking nerf sentry turrets, everything will be good in life. For audio, they made various tweaks to overall audio experience to improve clarity, distance, and directional perception. Fixed an issue where soldiers' footsteps would not always play indoors. I mean, I don't really use a headset unless I'm streaming, so that doesn't really matter much to me. And honestly, in like All Out Warfare at 64 to be 64, good luck trying to sound horse someone. I mean, using a headset in Battlefield is to me, it's kind of pointless. I do better when I don't use a headset. I mean, I can still sound horror people anyway. I have really good speakers, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't, like, it's not going to save me in some situations where there's a shit ton of people around me. So, I mean, that's not too big of a fix, in my opinion. I mean, it's a fix where, you know, because there's times I've noticed where I was in a building and I heard footsteps coming from my right and they would come from behind me from the left. And it was, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a bug that needs to be fixed, but anyway, rambling. Weapons. They remove bounce from under barrel grenades when firing at short distances. 40mm AP grenades not properly damage vehicles, but nobody that don't use grenade launcher. They fix some weapons displaying wrong ammo counts for specific magazines. The DXR-1 and NTW 50 bolt action rifle reload animation increased by 0.2 seconds. The NTW is just getting shit on. I think it's just because everyone uses it. It's really fucking good in close quarters, but honestly, like, the bullet drop on that thing is seriously, like, it takes a lot of getting used to. So I think increasing its, you know, reload animation, it's already slow on reload, it's already slow on cocking back the bolt. Why does it need to be nerfed even more, especially if it's supposed to be anti-material? Whatever. They adjusted dispersion values for most weapons, which results in a faster dispersion decrease when tap firing or doing short bursts. Anders proved that was bugged. If you watch this video, he would burst fire and then he would full mag dump, and it was pretty much the same shit. So now burst fire should be a lot more accurate than what it was before. They adjusted recoil values to prevent over-aggressive recoil jumps for the AK-24, LCMG, PKP, BP, SCAR, and PP-29. PP-29 recently got nerfed because it's really too fucking good at all ranges, and I don't know why they adjusted the recoil jump for it, but I can see it becoming meta again. The LCMG pretty much had no recoil. I have, I think, a few clips. I haven't used the LCMG since the patch. Most of my clips, like in that last clip video, all came before the patch. So the LCMG should now have, like, absolutely no recoil. And the PKP is super fucking good now. Like, its recoil before was really hard to manage, and after the patch, Jesus Christ, dude, it's so fucking good. I've been using it lately, and I've got a few clips with it. So be on the lookout for that in the next clip video. They improved hip fire accuracy for all SMGs to make them better stand out from other automatic weapon arch types. Honestly, if the hip fire, from what I played with the K30 on Thursday, if that's the hip fire for all SMGs, then it's pretty much on BF1 level in my honest opinion. It's really, really, really good. LMG dispersion and recoil lower to improve performance at sustained fire. That's not bad. Honestly, in sustained fire, you probably want the LCMG. PKP still jumps up quite a bit, but I don't have the vertical recoil muzzle yet. So once I do, and I do some testing with that, it probably won't have any vertical recoil at all, and it no longer fires up and to the right. It feels like it just fires straight up. Additional improvements to recoil control for all weapons, more specifically automatic weapons. Increased close range damage and consistency of the MCS 880 shotgun when using buckshot shell or fletchet shells. I used the shotgun on day one when the weekly mission came out, and it felt a lot better than the last time I used it, especially at range. They fixed the bug that caused bullets to be fired below the player's aims for the SCAR and K30. Vehicles, the big one. They fixed the bug where vehicle weapons sometimes do not deal blast damage on a direct hit. Yeah, I see that being a problem. There's been times where I was actually in a vehicle for once, firing off a round, and it did no damage. So they're reducing the ground vehicle 30mm cannon effectiveness versus infantry, and now overheats faster, has a slightly reduced rate of fire and blast damage, and increased fall-off damage at distance. So the rate of fire went from 350 to 330. The heat per bullet's 0.13 seconds to 0.14 seconds. The heat drop per second is 0.5 seconds, milliseconds to 0.475 milliseconds. Blast damage 20 to 18. The LCA hovercraft 40mm grenade launchers, blast damage is lower from 55 to 35. 40mm utility pod upwards firing angle is now easier to use. And the Wildcat's 57mm cannons remove dispersion. It's got less ammo from 12 to 8. Its impact damage went from 85 to 75, and its blast damage went from 70 to 35. Honestly, the hovercraft, ever since it got nerfed, I think in the last patch, the patch before. I have not seen it as much as I had MC5 Bolt or the Wildcat. And I honestly do not see the MC5C Bolt on this list. Huh. Interesting. Whatever. For gadgets, frag grenade, they increase the time to detonate frag grenade from 1.1 seconds to 1.4 seconds after first bounce on a hard collision. Increased damage of frag grenades across game modes, still 120 damage, guarantees kill on armored players too. I mean, that should make sense. If you're wearing armor, you should still dodge an explosive. Reduced frag incendiary grenade max ammo count from 2 to 1. You don't really want, basically in COD 4 you had frag at 3, you don't want grenade spamming to become the new meta. Proc sensor, they lowered the spotting radius from 30 meters to 20 meters. They lowered the uptime from 30 seconds to 14 seconds. They lowered the amount of proc sensors the player can carry and deploy from 2 to 1. So basically, I got my red proc sensor icon before this change. And yeah, it was pretty broken. There's no way you can flank, and now you really have to be smart where you use your proc sensors at. So I mean, it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming. If you didn't know it was coming, you were... I don't know what you were smoking, because that shit was broken. Insanely broken. There's so much info on the map. And that's the problem with specialists is, you know, before it was straight up to scouts to do your reconnaissance, and now everyone has access to pretty much what used to be a recon item, and now, you know, you pretty much just spam it, and you got points. And I've noticed that there was a game before this patch, I had like a 50 assist game just off of proc sensors. And ever since the patch, that my assist count has dropped drastically. Hazard Zone, no one gives a shit about that. Breakthrough. They removed rooftop objective capture points. They need to do this in Conquest as well. It's bullshit that you have capture points on top of the building, especially in maps like Kaleidoscope or Hourglass, where you have to take an elevator to get to the top of the fucking building to cap it. It's stupid. With Orbital, you have your zip lines you can use to get to the top of the building. You have various ways to get to the top of B1 on Orbital. All those maps need to either adopt that philosophy for Orbital, or they just need to remove the cap points pretty much off the top of buildings. They're not going to try to make it more accessible outside elevators. Soldier, improvements on backpedaling to objects when being in prone position, fixed rare issue where players can turn invisible when spawning on a full and destroyed vehicle. So that's it from the patch notes, basically. I mean, they said it was going to be the biggest and most important patch yet they've had, and they've kept their word. I mean, so far it's been a really good patch in my opinion. Things feel good. I've kind of rambled on quite a bit, but game is pretty much over. Final score was like 22-5 or some shit like that. I'll try to post more gameplays in the future. Try to give out some tips and tricks and all that good stuff. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.